So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 90 and the penultimate episode of our F1 Manager 22 series. Now if you didn't join us on Tuesday, go back and watch that one because it was a cracking race in Mexico and we won again. Lando Norris, he's been superb, he's the world champion and he's been driving exceptionally well. We got the strategy calls bang right and Mick Schumacher recovered very well from a very disappointing qualifying to get P4 and beat Max Verstappen on the last lap. There is also a little highlight of that on the channel as well. What does all that mean as we come in to the Brazilian Grand Prix this weekend? It means that we are just 28 points in front of Red Bull going into the final two races. It's us versus Christian Horner, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc going into this last couple of races. I'm confident we can do it. Just to bring you up to speed on one more thing, car development wise, our last car development on this game is going to be the suspension because we can get that on for qualifying tomorrow at Brazil, and that's going to make quite a decent difference to us for the last couple of races. So we're excited about that. We've put all his eggs into this last suspension upgrade. This weekend then, as mentioned, it is the Brazilian Grand Prix in Sao Paolo. 71 laps round here. Max Verstappen holds the lap record of 1:10.4 last season. Last season it was him that won it. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, the two Ferrari drivers, finished second and fourth. Car attributes, acceleration and low and medium speed cornering, especially in that middle sector. Expected strategies are a two-stop. Mediums and hards seem to be the way to go, but we have seen safety cars around here in previous seasons. I'm going to get through practice and we'll see you in qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Today has already seen the culmination of practice, so we move on now to the all-important qualifying session. For those teams hoping to pick up points in tomorrow's race, qualifying is a great opportunity to get ahead of the competition. Whether a driver normally finds themselves as a front runner or a back marker, any advantage they can gain here today is sure to give them an edge. Hold on tight, because we're getting underway.
This is it then, final laps in Q3. Lando Norris is purple through the middle sector. Charles Leclerc is on provisional pole. He's 400ths of a second in front of Lando Norris. Can Lando Norris get pole position for Ferrari here in Brazil? He crosses a line and he beats him by a 10th of a second. Schumacher, personal best through the first and second sectors as well. Can Mick Schumacher improve on P9? He certainly can. He's up to P7 and I believe that is the final grid. So Lando Norris will be starting on pole position for tomorrow's Brazilian Grand Prix. Great work from him. Only didn't top Q1 because Charles Leclerc did. We didn't go out for a second run. Mick Schumacher, decent P7, and Sebastian Vettel's got a grid penalty, so he will be escalated into P6. Decent qualifying from both Ferrari guys. Right guys, there is rain forecast for both our cars. Well, for every car on the grid, of course, but having a look at the strategy, now we reckon it's going to come in around lap 30. If it comes in a little bit earlier, we can probably understand that. So we're reckoning, instead of going medium, and then the hards, I don't see the point in having a pit stop here, then having another pit stop straight after. So we're going to start on the hard compound tyres for both cars, get to the rain period, stick on the intermediates, and then Lando's got the opportunity to go softs at the end, whereas Mick Schumacher has got to go mediums because he ain't got any fresh soft compound tyres. But the hard seems the optimal for me, so that's what we're going to go for. First and sixth. I think this is going to be a very exciting race. Could we cement the constructors title here in Sao Paulo? It would be ideal. Let's get to 5 red lights.
And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we are looking at Lando Norris, who got an absolutely belting start off the line. And if we have a look at the top guys, there is only us that started on the hard compound tyre. I'm convinced that Lando Norris will be able to hold the pace. That doesn't concern me at all. And then Mick Schumacher can do the same, but it is Lando Norris who leads away from Charles Leclerc in P2. Then comes Daniel Ricciardo in P3, followed by Max Verstappen, Ocon P5, Mick Schumacher in P6. Then comes Bottas, K-Mag in the Audi, Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly, two Aston Martins, making up P9 and 10. But Pierre Gasly has got a real battle on his hands. He's got the Mercedes of George Russell and the Nissan of Lance Stroll just behind him. people out of position. Sergio Perez wants to look for in P14. He's had a bad qualifying, maybe some grid penalties as well. He's starting on the soft compound tyre, so he's definitely going to be making a pit stop before this rain comes. The garage has just gone mental, says Bono, and I'm hoping we are going to get a replay very, very shortly. And here it is, Mick Schumacher overtaking Esteban Ocon. Let's have a little look at what happens here. Schumacher down the inside, just caught him napping. Beautiful work from him, and he's on the back of a Red Bull. Mick Schumacher's caused us problems this season. We've stuck with him. Good performance last time out in Mexico, and he's showing today that he's got a little bit of pace as well. As we come to the end of lap 1, Lando Norris leads the Brazilian Grand Prix. We've had a spin on circuit. Fortunately, I know what you were all thinking, it's Mick Schumacher, but it wasn't. It was Sebastian Vettel spinning out there in the Maserati Haas. Still on lap 3, Lando Norris is looking particularly comfortable in this Ferrari at the moment, even with DRS. This is the first time really we've seen the McLaren have a go at him, and it is Danny Ricciardo who's coming down the outside of Lando Norris. As we switch back to the TV view, Lando Norris does look like he's going to lose the lead of the Grand Prix. Let's have a look what happens. Lando Norris, we have got a lot of pace in this Ferrari, as we are showing. But Daniel Ricciardo, he's now got the DRS and takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris sits in P2. The one that we're really impressed with at the moment is Mick Schumacher. He's just holding on to the back of these cars, doing a fantastic job. And now Lando Norris, the idea will be to save the tyres a little bit. We'll save the tyres and make sure that we can get to this rain period. The same will be said for Mick Schumacher as well. Lap 4, Daniel Ricciardo leads in Brazil. We've had a crash on circuit, and once again, it's not us, but it's the Aston Martin of Carlos Sainz. Now remember, this is our old team, and Carlos Sainz locking up that front left. The degradation on these soft compound tyres around Brazil is not easy to cope with, but it has certainly managed to do it here. Aston Martin will be very, very upset with that. Meanwhile, things are looking rather rosy at the front. Lando Norris just hanging onto the back of Danny Ricciardo. Schumacher doing the same with Verstappen and Leclerc. Remember, we are going to this rain period. I've just been doing the maths on what we need to win the Constructors today. If we just have a look at the Constructors standings, as things stand, we would now be, 30 points in front? We need to be 45 in front to be winning the Constructors today. It could happen, but part of me kind of wants to take it down to Abu Dhabi in the final race of this series that we've had. But if you offered it me today, I'd take it and we could just have a cruise around Abu Dhabi. That would be rather nice as well. But lap 7, it's Ricciardo from Norris. Leclerc's dropping off a little bit as well. He can't seem to keep pace with these two. Mick Schumacher seems to have the pace over the Red Bulls today. Little note for you there. You join us back on lap 11. As you can see, Lando Norris taking track limits to the extreme. If you've watched the Austrian Grand Prix, which I've just recording this, I've just watched that. Track limits, big thing. Let me know what you thought about that down in the comments. I know Lewis Hamilton was having a bit of a fit about him, but he couldn't keep his Mercedes in the white lines. But no, interesting one that today at the Austrian Grand Prix. But Lando Norris is now in the lead of the Grand Prix. These tyres are wearing, the mediums are now wearing. These guys may have to pit. We can see it's getting a little bit gloomier at this moment in time. There's a nice gap as well between Magnussen and Ocon. Ocon's pulled out a 3-second gap on Magnussen. So Schumacher's running in the front, running at the front at the moment. And remember, I think strategy-wise that these guys may pit. We'll see if they stretch the mediums. If the rain comes earlier, that isn't going to suit us. We need the rain to come when it was predicted. But lap 12, it's Ricciardo and Norris exchanging places for the lead. Yellow flag, and Zhou Guanyu has had a little bit of a moment. He ran wide, rejoined, and I'm expecting a crash. Maybe not a crash. We got notified it was a crash. It was Latifi who crashed. It was Zhou running wide. Nicholas Latifi. Let's have a look at what Nicholas Latifi does here. These soft compound tyres are really struggling now. Look the front right. Luckily, didn't hit the Williams. Nicholas Latifi then towards the back of the grid now. Lap 15. We reckon we've got about 15 laps maybe until the rain starts coming. Our tyres are still looking in pretty decent nick. Norris and Schumacher doing okay. He's just lost the position. I wouldn't be too frustrated about that, Lando, because we're sitting pretty at the moment. This little group of 5 cars, 6 cars at the front are doing okay. If we have a look from Mick Schumacher's point of view, he's sticking with these 2 Red Bulls beautifully, and I'm hoping he may be able to start making a move on them very, very soon. Lap 15. You join us back on lap 20. Mick Schumacher's already overtaken 1 Red Bull. He's now looking to overtake another, and that one is Charles Leclerc. He's using the overtake because I now reckon the drop-off on these mediums is causing these Red Bulls to really slow down. And Mick Schumacher is looking left and right, trying to get a run on Charles Leclerc. He's going to go for the inside move here into the second sector. What a move this could be from Mick Schumacher. If he can make this stick, he's ahead, but he's round the outside, which will turn to the inside for this next corner. And I would suggest that Mick Schumacher has got the position off Charles Leclerc. That is fantastic work from Mick Schumacher, who will now be told not to fight his teammate. We've got 10 laps to go. We've had the first people pitting. Sergio Perez was the first car pitting in this Grand Prix for tyres off the soft compound, but it's second and third for the Ferraris of Norris and Schumacher, and it might not be second and third for too much longer because Lando Norris has got the lead of the Grand Prix. Great work from him. These tyres are starting to drop off, and Mick Schumacher has got the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. All happening here in Brazil as some of the medium compound runners are now starting to pit. Do you know, it's very difficult to manage Mick Schumacher, and this is probably the reason why, because he's just managed to do this. He's smashed his front wing off. We have got a VSC. He ran wide, and watch this. So Mick Schumacher, let's have a little look at this. He runs wide initially, and then rejoins and smashes Max Verstappen and Guan Yu Zhou. We've got to get now Mick Schumacher into the pits. We'll come back when he's into the pits. Virtual safety car has ended. Mick Schumacher has retired. We got the car back to the pits. There was damage on a multiple components. So therefore, Schumacher has retired from this Grand Prix. Everybody pit apart from Lando Norris. 14 seconds is the gap from Lando to Charles Leclerc, because we know that in a few laps time at the intermediates we will be pitting, so we're going to solve as much as a time gap that we possibly could to ensure, and to be fair, Lando's doing pretty alright on these medium tyres at the moment. So lap 23 we are down to just one car, but that one car is the man that's carried our charge all season, and it is Lando Norris. So I'm expecting rain within the next sort of 7 laps. Rain has started as we expected, bang on lap 30, and Lando Norris, we've timed it just right, he's in to the pit stops for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. This could be absolutely huge for us. We've got in at the optimal time. What we just need to ensure now is that when we do come out, we are using the tyres and we get away from these dry compound runners. To be fair, I don't think there's going to be that many to negotiate. Leclerc and Ricciardo have both stayed out, as has Max Verstappen, I believe. So Lando Norris is going to rejoin just behind Max Verstappen, but these are going to be going very, very slowly. Verstappen has pit. So now Lando Norris is out on the intermediate tyres, on the optimal tyre. He's got Leclerc and Ricciardo in front of him, and he just needs to ensure that he gets past these two cars as quickly as possible. There's a few cars coming in. We'll come back when cars have made their pit stops. Good job indeed. It took us a while to get past Leclerc and Ricciardo, but when we have, we've made it count. And Lando Norris now is currently sat in the lead of this Grand Prix. I'm going to be interested to see where these two guys come out, both on intermediate tyres. Russell's 23 seconds behind. I think we are going to have such a commanding lead here. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Verstappen's done particularly well during this pit stop phase. He's still in P5. George Russell's the real winner, now up in P4 and behind Ricciardo and Leclerc, who are just exiting the pit lane. So George Russell has had a belting pit stop there. Great strategy from the Mercedes team. But Leclerc and Verstappen running P2 and 3. Lando Norris in P1, and remember, Lando Norris has got the soft compound tyres to go on to at the end of this Grand Prix. You join us back on lap 40. Lando Norris is leading the Grand Prix. 25 seconds is the gap to Danny Ricciardo. It's been pretty good news for Lando Norris so far today. Danny Ricciardo in P2, then come the two Red Bulls of Leclerc and Verstappen. Russell's in P5, as said, very good strategy call from him. Ocon is in P6, currently having the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Then comes Magnussen, Perez, Vettel and Valtteri Bottas in P10. Just one retirement from this Grand Prix, and that has been Mick Schumacher, but Carlos Sainz might as well have, as he's a minute behind at the moment. He's nearly a lap down. Track has just turned to dry, but we are expecting some more rain very imminently. Lap 42. Lap 56, track is now dry, and to be fair, we've changed it. We were going to go for the soft compound tyres, but the degradation is worrying me, and I didn't want us to be spinning out at the end of the Grand Prix. And I think these tyres are going to be a little bit more durable. I still reckon we can get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That shouldn't be a problem. We've got a nice gap towards Danny Ricciardo, who's still just coming around the final corner. So we are going to get out in front of these guys. I would be expecting a few of these guys to pit. Leclerc and Ricciardo certainly do that. But Lando Norris is coming out now of the pit lane. It's been a pretty good day at the office for Lando Norris. He's going to have a couple of cars to negotiate, which I'm hoping he's going to do, but we can go for the fastest lap attempt as well towards the end. On lap 57, it's Norris well in front. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 59, and it's got to be said, I didn't even use the ERS. Lando's just done it of his own accord. He's getting a bit of a fight from the Maserati of Latifi, who's trying to unlap himself. It's interesting to see what other tyre compounds. A lot of people gone for soft compound tyres. We went for the mediums, and I reckon that was the right decision. But Lando just cruising around now. Relay with what, 12 laps to go? We should have this very much in the bag. Just to take you down the top 10 now, I believe everyone has made their pit stop. So it's Leclerc in P2, Ricciardo P3, Verstappen P4, then comes Russell, Ocon, K-Mag is in P7 in the Audi, Perez P8, Zhou P9 and Vettel P10. We've done something very different with the strategy today and it's paid absolute dividends. It just makes you wonder, where would Mick Schumacher have been? Lap 59. Last lap of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris has been in complete control practically from start to finish. We've told him to use the ERS, push on the fuel, and he's already got the fastest lap, but just go and try and beat it. Let's see if he can. He's yellow through the first sector. I don't think he's going to manage to do it on these tyres, but we thought we'd just have a go anyway. But Lando Norris, we're just going to speed it up a little bit as he's going through this middle sector. But what a performance this has been. I know people in real life have said they're not enjoying the F1 because Max Verstappen is just absolutely dominating. But it must be said, if you're watching this series, it's a 38-second gap for Lando Norris. To be fair, I think the strategy's got a lot to do with it. But Lando Norris is going to come round the final corner and down the long straight. And Lando Norris, I don't know how many he's won this season, but he's won another and he wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. What more is there to say about this, man? We went for Pierre Gasly at the start of the season. Lando Norris was the second choice we went for, but my word has he proved it, and he's proven it in real life as well. If you gave this man the car, what could he do? And I think we're showing what he could do. Lando Norris, what a performance. It's another podium scene, and we are going to enjoy watching it. Let's get that champagne cracked open, boys.
Lando Norris can be proud. What a fantastic performance from him. A truly well-earned podium here, and a dream come true for everyone involved. And after such a fabulous drive here today, it's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
It's got to be said, did you notice Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen's expressions there? They were not very happy bunnies, were they? So as we know, Lando Norris wins it and gets the fastest lap. Charles Leclerc P2, Verstappen P3, Russell P4, 7 places gained from him. Ricciardo, good showing in the McLaren in P5, Ocon P6, Vettel P8. Guan Yu Zhou P9 and Kevin Magnussen makes up the points paying positions in P10. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris, we know it's job done, but Charles Leclerc is still in front of Max Verstappen and I believe will finish P2 in the driver standings. So Charles Leclerc beats Verstappen at Red Bull. Constructor standings wise though, this is what it all comes down to. There is a 22-point difference between the two teams. It's got to be said, Mick Schumacher has not helped out at all. If we did have a decent second driver, I think we would be well away now. But Mick Schumacher, he did well last week, not this week. 22 points is the gap as we go into the final episode at the Abu Dhabi. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and join me for the finale of this series next time out. Ta-ra!